Hey guys, it's Akasun here. Now a lot of you have been messaging me and I was going to ignore it for a bit, let it pass over, but I kept on getting messages over and over again. People are like, Akasun, tell us, what is your opinion about Thor becoming a girl? Thor, for those of you that don't know, Thor in the comics is, as you probably know from the, at least knowing Thor, Thor is a guy, Thor Odinson, the son of Odin. Anyways, that being said, as you've seen him in most released animated versions, comics, the movies, of course, it's always generally played by a male. This guy, for example. But as of late, Marvel just announced that coming soon, I don't know, fall or whatever, Thor is going to be played by a woman. It's going to be actually taken over. There's a weapon that Thor uses, Mjolnir. Let me get it real quick. And only as it's inscribed here on the top, for those that are worthy may harness Mjolnir, can pick it up, and carry the power of Thor, or whatever. Basically, only those that are worthy can pick up this hammer. As you've seen in the Avengers and other incarnations, many people have tried to pick up the hammer, they can't. So only those that are worthy may have the power of Thor. That's exactly what this inscription in Asgardian says. I know, I studied Asgardian. Anyways, sorry, I just threw my hammer. So, I guess coming soon, Thor Odinson, as we know, is going to be losing his powers and of his powers of Thor, and is going to be replaced by a woman. A woman! Anyways, a lot of people are taking offense to this, or shocked, or whatever, and I'm gonna get to what I think about that in a second, but let's get on top of the other news that came out right after that. Captain America is going to be replaced, or Steve Rogers as Captain America is going to be replaced by Sam Wilson, who is black, and you may know him as the Falcon. He was the guy with the wings flying around, whatever. He's going to end up becoming the new Captain America. So now we have Thor as a girl, Captain America is black, and then the last one is Tony Stark, Iron Man, is going to become evil. Whatever. Okay, so let me get to what's going on right now. There's a bit of a shakeup in Marvel, which is, you know, you gotta understand, first and foremost, these are comics, and those that don't read comics are pretty much the ones complaining about the comics. That's the way it works. If you're actually an avid comic book fan, like myself, these things don't actually get to you because you're so used to them always changing up. It wasn't that long ago, less than a year ago, that Spider-Man died. Actually, no, Spider-Man didn't die, but he, okay, yeah, actually, technically he died. He died and was replaced by Dr. Octopus, and basically it was like a huge body swap mess, and basically Dr. Octopus's mind was in Peter Parker's body, while Peter Parker's mind died in Dr. Octopus's dying body. Oh, you still with me? Okay. Point being, there was a new Spider-Man around who was actually had the mentality of a bad guy, and I will tell you this, you know, that was controversial at the time, but that was one of the best storylines I've ever read, and that actually engaged me to start reading Spider-Man again. And I will tell you this, now Peter Parker is back, Dr. Octopus is dead, and Peter Parker is back in his original body, and they relaunched the whole story again. But I will tell you this, as a comic fan, I read the Return of Peter Parker or whatever, and I read the first issue, and I have not picked up another issue after that. Going back to the status quo bored me. Going back to the dumb luck Peter Parker lifestyle bored me. I just didn't like. I actually haven't been a big fan of Peter Parker as Spider-Man, or just a Spider-Man comic book, since One More Day. If you guys don't know what the story is, it's okay. Basically, they made a lot of changes and reverted Spider-Man back to his single days and made him unmarried. He completely forgot his marriage, made a deal with the devil to do it. Just a lot of stuff that it just left a huge. I didn't like it, and it was a terrible taste in my mouth, and I just stopped reading Spider-Man comics completely after that. So actually, Spidey-Ock becoming Spider-Man got me interested in Spider-Man titles again, just temporarily, because I knew it was going to be a great ride that wouldn't last forever. That's the main thing you have to remember, is that whenever there's a shakeup, I mean, I've been a comic reader almost all my life, and it's been like 20 something years or 25 years. You know, I've seen Superman die, I've seen Batman die, I've seen both of them be replaced, I've seen almost every main status quo character has been replaced in some form or fashion. And you know what? That status quo always comes back. In some form or fashion, it's always back now, whereas the new DC, Batman and Superman, you know, the outfits are a little different, you know, it's a little more current, which is good. I like the new DC. That's still, ideally, that symbol is still there. Sometimes Superman could use some changes. I think I just pissed off a ghost because all my stuff just fell. Okay. Oh, look at that. You can see the Iron Man stuff. Okay. Anyways, let's get back to Thor as a girl, okay? So you guys want to know what... I think you can already imagine what I'm going to say about this. I really don't care if that Thor is a girl. Thor has been a frog. A giant horse-looking thing has been able to wield the power of Mjolnir. So, you know, whatever. It's no big deal. Thor Odinson, this type of dude, the character he plays, kind of, he'll still be around, so it's not a big problem. And, you know, first, like I said, going back to what I said at the beginning of all this, people are bitching and complaining, and like, why not just make original characters? You know what? These people, I highly doubt that they actually read the Thor comics to begin with, so if they did, they'd understand kind of, you know, shakeups are needed to reinvigorate things. You know, there was a time where the Scarlet Witch completely made a bunch of mutants depowerless, took all their powers away with just 3 words: no more mutants. And that's caused a big a ruckus in the House of M. And, you know, whatever. I say enjoy the ride. I'm actually a huge reader. Like, you know, as you can tell, I'm a fan of Thor, the movie. But it wasn't until after the movie came out that I started reading God of Thunder by Jason Aaron, who is actually in charge of Thor being a girl and all that. And if you haven't checked out God of Thunder, that's one of my favorite titles to be reading right now. It's great. It has a young Thor, it has a Avenger Thor, and then it has the old Odin Thor, who King of Asgard Thor. All different timelines, great story, and actually one of the best, if they can do it right. There's a great story called God Killer that was the highlight of my year last year in terms of storylines. God Killer was just so good, and I'd love to see some sort of live adaptation of that movie, of that story. So, that being said, I trust this author. I like his work. I like everything he's done for Thor, and I don't think this is going to be a bad step. So we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about Sam Wilson taking over as Captain America. It's just the shot in the arm that Marvel comic books have to do in general, just to shake things up and get people interested that weren't interested before, and hopefully they stay on and continue reading from here on out. So don't worry about it. Relax. Take a deep breath. If you don't like it, you probably weren't reading the stories anyways. I will say, though, if they do things like they did with One More Day, Spider-Man, that can completely turn off an audience altogether. And it completely turned me off of Spider-Man comics altogether. So I was really not a big fan of that. I think because more or less the reason I don't like One More Day is because it went back on decades of history and took away what it basically said all that stuff that happened was irrelevant, and you've been wasting your life reading that sort of stuff. I'm all for moving forward, but I don't like things going, things getting recooned, whatever. That's the problem I have with one. And then just the way it came about, the way Peter Parker made the deal with the devil. And actually, he didn't even do it. It was Mary Jane that made the decision to split them up and they forget each other forever. Whatever. That's a whole another painful situation. But anyways, so you wanted to know my opinion on that. There you go. That's what I think about Thor becoming a girl. It's whatever. It's going to be an interesting ride. I'm looking forward to it. I know sooner or later we're going to get our old school Thor back. You know, how long it takes, a year or whatever. You know, we got, when Spidey-Ock happened, that only happened, I think, for about a year or so. So you guys don't worry about it. And just a side note, in terms of the effects on the movie, nah, it's not. Nah. First and foremost, it needs to actually prove to be a hit and sell lots of copies and have a positive response, all that sort of stuff. And then maybe, just maybe it'll influence the movies, but I highly doubt it. My opinion is actually what I'd really be interested to see with the Avengers in the movies world is everybody dies, and everybody dies. Ultron kills almost all the Avengers, and then the new side guys like the Winter Soldier takes up the mantle of Captain America. Someone else ends up being Thor if he's not already out. I think he's signed up for a lot of things though. Someone else ends up being Iron Man like that. That would be crazy if they did that in the movies. Oh man, that'd be a ballsy ass move, and Marvel would definitely be the person to do that too. They can put out anything right now and it'll sell. All right, guys, that's it. So that's my opinion. We're done. For Midgard.